Today, we pause to remember Charlie Kirk. A political activist, a public speaker, and a man whose life was tragically cut short just 2 days ago. For over a decade, Charlie Kirk devoted himself to shaping conversations about politics and culture in America. Though often described as a polarizing and controversial figure, his passion, his determination, and his unwavering belief in his mission left a lasting impact on countless young people across the nation. He lived at the intersection of ideas and action, and regardless of whether one agreed or disagreed with him, his presence was felt. He inspired, he challenged, and he forced people to think. Tonight, we honor his memory by reflecting on 10 important facts about his life and legacy. Through these stories, we hope to shed light not only on who he was, but also on the legacy he leaves behind. Fact 1. Turning Point USA. One of Charlie Kirk's most defining achievements was the founding of Turning Point USA. In 2012, at just 18 years old, Charlie launched the organization with a clear mission: to educate and empower students with conservative values on college campuses across the country. What began as a small effort soon grew into a national movement, with chapters at hundreds of universities and thousands of active members. Under Kirk's leadership, Turning Point USA became a recognizable name in American politics, hosting conferences, rallies, and debates that drew large crowds of young activists. For supporters, it represented hope, energy, and a chance for students to challenge mainstream narratives. For critics, it was a powerful reminder of the growing divide in the nation's political climate. No matter the perspective, one thing is undeniable: Charlie Kirk built something that gave countless young people a voice. Fact 2. His age and youthful energy. Charlie Kirk was just 31 years old when his life came to an end. Though young, he had already lived a life full of passion and purpose. By his early 20s, he was addressing national audiences, appearing on television, and meeting with political leaders. He became a familiar face on talk shows, podcasts, and news segments. For many of his followers, Charlie represented the idea that youth could carry influence. He reminded a generation that their voices mattered, that politics was not reserved for the older or the elite, but that students and young professionals could also shape the future. Fact 3. The tragic event. On September 10, 2025, tragedy struck. Charlie Kirk was participating in the American Comeback Tour at Utah Valley University, an event designed to spark dialogue between students and activists. The program, called Prove Me Wrong, invited open debate, and Charlie, as always, welcomed difficult conversations. But in the middle of that mission, his life was taken. A single moment that ended years of activism, years of controversy, years of connection. It was a day that shocked his followers, stunned his critics, and made headlines around the world. Fact 4. A political assassination. Authorities quickly confirmed the horrifying truth: Charlie Kirk was shot from a nearby building. Officials described it as a politically motivated assassination. In a world already divided by ideology and rhetoric, his death served as a grim reminder of how words can escalate into violence. Leaders across the political spectrum reacted with grief and with caution, urging the nation to step back from anger and to reflect on the cost of such division. Fact 5. A posthumous honor. In the days that followed, tributes poured in. Among them came one of the highest honors in American society. Former President Donald Trump announced that Charlie Kirk would be awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, posthumously. The award, given to individuals who have made extraordinary contributions to the United States, became a final recognition of Kirk's impact, regardless of how one viewed his politics. For his supporters, it was a moment of validation. For his family, it was a bittersweet acknowledgement that Charlie's work had left an imprint on the nation he loved. Fact 6. A nation in mourning. In honor of his life and his service, the American flag was flown at half-staff across the country. For many, it was more than a gesture. It was a symbol of unity, a reminder that even in disagreement, the nation must honor those who dedicate themselves to public service. The image of the flag lowered in silence became one of the most powerful tributes to his life. Fact 7. A debater until the end. Even in his final days, Charlie Kirk was doing what he loved most: engaging in debate. He believed deeply in the power of dialogue. His gift for rhetoric and persuasion earned him both admiration and criticism, but it always sparked conversation. He often told students that disagreement was not a weakness but a strength, and that through dialogue, truth could be found. His final appearance at Utah Valley University was not a speech of division, but an invitation to sit, to argue, to question, and to learn. Fact 8. The issues he fought for. Charlie Kirk made his career speaking on issues he believed defined America's future: the right to bear arms, the protection of unborn life, and the defense of traditional family values. While these topics often placed him at the center of heated political battles, they also showcased his consistency. He never shied away from difficult conversations. He stood firmly by his convictions, even when they drew sharp criticism. Whether one agreed or not, his voice was always clear, his arguments always firm, and his presence impossible to ignore. Fact 9. A divided nation reacts. The news of his assassination spread rapidly across the country and the world. On social media, tributes flooded in, some mourning his loss, others reflecting on the dangerous path of political discourse in America. Vigils were held. Candles were lit. People who had never met him still felt the gravity of the moment. His passing forced many to ask hard questions about the direction of public debate, about how society handles disagreement, and about the real cost of political violence. Fact 10. His legacy. In the end, many believe Charlie Kirk's legacy will not be defined by controversy but by the way he inspired others to speak, to act, and to believe their voices mattered. For a generation of students, he was proof that youth could stand up, take the microphone, and lead the conversation. He may have been polarizing, but he was never silent. And through his activism, he awakened something powerful in young people, a hunger to engage, to question, and to take part in democracy. Charlie Kirk's story ended far too soon. But his passion, his energy, and his belief in the power of dialogue live on in those who listened, those who debated, and those who now continue the conversations he started. May his life remind us that every voice matters, and that even in disagreement, there is power in dialogue. In memory of Charlie Kirk, 1993 to 2025. Gone too soon. Never forgotten.